Right, this morning I'd like to tell you about a man who wanted to buy an ass. Not that kind of ass, it's a donkey. There was a man who wanted to buy an ass. So he went to the market to find a man selling, I'm going to say donkey because it's just getting a bit too weird now. So he wanted to buy a donkey. He found a man selling a donkey. And the donkey looked like the kind of donkey that he wanted. It was a very firm donkey. I'm glad I changed this from ass now. It was a very firm donkey, a very strong looking donkey, but he wasn't sure if he wanted to pay for it up front. So we asked the man, is it okay if I take this donkey for a week's trial? See if it works for me. If it's great, I'll come back, give you the money. If it's not good enough, I'll return it to you. And the man said, yep, that's perfectly fine. Take the donkey, try it for a week, see if you like it. So the man took his donkey back to his farm, put it into his stables with his other donkeys, and went to bed for the night. When he got up the next morning, he went into the stable, and he saw that that donkey had gone up to the laziest donkey in the barn and had made friends with him and had snuggled up with him for the night. And the man said, right, that's it, that's not good enough, I'm taking that donkey back. He grabbed the donkey, dragged it all the way back to the market, and he gave it back to the guy selling it. And the man selling it said, you've got a week to try this donkey, why are you bringing it back straight away? And the man said, look, this guy's made friends with the laziest donkey in my barn, that's not good enough for me. A man is judged by the company he keeps. And that is a parable. If you want to be seen as someone who's successful, someone who's hardworking, someone who does the right thing, don't hang around with people who are lazy donkeys, lazy asses, lazy complainers. And this works in the business world for entrepreneurs, and it works for employees. If you work for a large company, your bosses won't necessarily know who you are when you start. They won't know how good you are. They'll make snap judgments based on who you hang around with in the business. If you hang around with somebody who is particularly lazy or particularly late, they'll assume, by definition, you are that kind of person. And it's very true for entrepreneurs. If you want to hang around, if you want to be more successful in business, more successful in your own business, you need to mix in circles with people who are more successful than you, not equally successful or less successful. If you hear things like, ooh, Damien, you've got loads of properties. That's a huge number of mortgages. How do you sleep at night? I couldn't cope with all that debt. Zoe, you bought a business. You run your own company. You employ loads of people. How do you do that? Why don't you just get a job? It's much easier. Chris, you employ loads of people. How do you struggle with all that worry of keeping them busy? If you hear things like that from friends in your social circle, then, without trying to sound too flippant about it, you need to get better friends. Whenever I can, I hang around with my nephew. When I say that, people think, oh, my nephew. But in fact, it's, oh, my nephew. He's far more successful than I am. And I'm not in the slightest bit jealous about it. When I tell him about the kind of business things that we're into, the kind of things that we're doing, properties that we're looking to buy, that sort of thing, he doesn't say, oh, I'm not sure you should be doing that. That sounds quite expensive. The kind of thing that my sister would say, for example. He comes up with ideas about how I could do it better. Now, to put this into perspective so that more people in the room will understand it easier, Damien, I'm picking on you because we had a one-to-one the other week. If you'd like to have a one-to-one with me at some point, you can be picked on in the next Ed slot. If you were looking to buy a house in a street, there were two houses available. One was the most expensive house in the street. It had been done up, it had been extended into the roof, and it was immaculate. There was another house in the street that hadn't had any extension work done and needed a bit of refurb. Which one would be the most appealing to you to buy? I'm glad you said that, because you would have completely ruined my story. The most expensive house on the street is you, the business owner, the entrepreneur. If you've got other houses on the street that are not as expensive, you're hanging around with people that are not as successful as you, you're not going to be able to go any further. You're not going to be able to expand yourself. If you are the less expensive house on the street, you're hanging around with other houses that are better than you, it will help push you up. You need to find people in your social circle that are more successful than you, not less successful than you, so that you can learn from them. Millionaires hang around with billionaires so that they can get more successful. So this week, I'd like you to look at your friends, look at your social circle, and think, am I the most successful person I hang around with? If I am, you need to change that so that you can become more successful. Oh, look at that face then. Zoe's getting new friends. Zoe's getting, well, that's the idea. Yeah, you haven't got any friends. I think we need to do another Ed slot on that one specifically. So, this week, judge your friends. If you don't like them, get new friends. Thank you very much.